Que lo que mi gente, what is up? It is your girl Christina, and you guys already know the deal with these VBX Familia Speaks video. So I recently had one of my female subbies request that I do a video on the fetishization of Latina women of all skin colors. So to begin this video, I wanted to first state the difference between a fetish and a preference, because there is a difference. Some people really just have a preference, but sometimes people that legit have a fetish will try to say, oh, it's my preference, when no, it's really a fetish. So with a preference, there is a particular attribute, say maybe it can be a race, or it can be, I don't know, a certain height, a certain, I don't know, whatever other physical attributes that people are attracted to, that is required for initial interest or attraction towards another person. However, it is not an absolute, it is not a requirement, it is simply a preference. For example, I have a preference for Pizza Hut pizza. That will be my first choice when ordering pizza. But that doesn't mean that I won't eat Papa John's or Domino's pizza, you know? So you are still open to other options, but given the choice, this is the first thing you're gonna go for. Now with a fetish, it's whatever this attribute is psychologically necessary to achieve some type of usually sexual gratification. So there's like this distorted expectation or obsession, say with a particular ethnic group or with a particular race of men or women. And people that have these fetish, I mean, they don't really take into consideration the person's personality. I mean, they're basically going into it based off of their perception of this particular, say, group of people or group of people with this specific attribute, based on what they've seen, say, in the media or whatever stereotypes maybe they've come across. And so they have basically created like a distorted reality towards this group of people, and they objectify people of that group. And they see, I don't know, targeting this specific group as, you know, a type of like sexual conquest, or, you know, feeding into whatever fantasy that they have. So when it comes to Latina women, I mean, I think there can be multiple reasons for why a man of any race may fetishize Latina women, but I think for American men, regardless of race, and I mean, this could apply to other men too, but I think a lot of that fetish comes from how Latinas are portrayed in Hollywood, how they've been portrayed for decades, and how they're portrayed in the media. So it has guys thinking that, you know, Latina women are all this particular type of way. So when Latina women are not being portrayed as a maid, I feel like Hollywood has always kind of made them out to be like these overly hypersexual women, many times curvaceous women, typically lighter skin, but dark enough that you can differentiate them from an Anglo-white woman. And you know, they many times have like a broken English accent. They're seen as having a hot temper, but at the same time being submissive, and you know, all these type of things. So and not just that, but they're labeled as being exotic, you know. So that is a word that low-key some women do actually take offense to, because it's like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean I'm exotic? Like, and I think that word, I don't know, it's, to me, I feel like it has like a very sexual connotation to it. And I mean, I think the people that call other groups of people exotic is because you're something different than what they're used to. When in reality, we might not even be that different from their women. It's just that when we do the same things that other groups of women do, it's labeled differently. For example, a Latina having a temper and, you know, popping off at a dude, you know, will more easily be labeled as being, oh, spicy, and, you know, just having a hot temper. But it's almost like guys like it. Whereas if a black woman does that, oh, she's an angry black woman. So there's a difference there. Now, when it comes to us darker skinned Latinas, it's a little different because we do not fit the typical mold of the stereotypical Latina that Hollywood has always portrayed. Like, people off the bat don't assume that we are Latina most of the time, unless I guess you're around a particular group of Latinos where there is a lot of like darker skin Latinos. So maybe, I don't know, if I was in an area where there was a lot more Dominicans, maybe another Dominican would be able to spot me and be like, hey, you're Dominican. But for the most part, that's never been my reality. That's never been the case for me. People have always assumed I'm some type of black other than Dominican. So with us, it can be like two things. It can be a guy that actually has a fetish for black women, like racially black women, but then there's like an extra level added to it once they find out that you're Latina. So it's like double, like, whoa, really? Because I have experienced this myself where a guy is trying to talk to me or whatever. He may assume I don't know. I've told y'all many times before, I've always either gotten mistaken for African American or more likely than not Ethiopian. Like, I've always had people think that I was Ethiopian. But then, so no, that's cool, you know. But then once they find out that I'm Dominican, it's like, ooh, you a Latina, you speak Spanish? Like, it turns into this whole other thing. And I think that there are certain groups of men that do specifically target Dominican women, and it is kind of like a fetish that they have with the Latinas that are more on the blacker mixed side versus the more, you know, white looking Latinas. So again, it's like two things at play here. But I think while some of these guys, maybe they really just do have a preference for, you know, us, I do think for others it is very much a fetish. You know, it's like a certain fantasy that they're after, or they're going after us based on whatever stereotypes they may have been fed, or they may think that, I don't know, we're easy, or, you know, whatever it may be. So it's a very thin line, I think, between what a fetish is and what a preference is. And as a woman, it can sometimes be hard to differentiate between the two when dealing with a man. But I don't know. I guess one of the ways as a woman that maybe you can kind of spot the type of man that you're dealing with is the type of stuff that he asks you. If he approaches you and he's already throwing out stereotypes at you, like, oh, you're Latina, so oh, you must be this and you must be that, or like, can you call me papi when, you know, we're getting it in, and blah blah blah. Like, if they already start with all of that mess, then you already know this dude probably has a fetish with Latina women, and you don't want to go there. But if the guy actually tries to get to know you and asks you real questions about yourself and just tries to get to know you as a person, then I think it's more safe to say, okay, maybe you are the type of woman that he prefers, you know. So I definitely think there's little red flags that we can look out for when dealing with this type of man, because there's a lot of crazies out there. I mean, and Latinas aren't the only women that get like fetishized. I mean, there's so many women that, or not women, but men that have a fetish for Asian women. And I mean, there's like white men even that have a fetish for black women. I mean, it can go really either way, and it's just kind of weird. And then you have those that like have a fetish for like young girls, like teenage girls. Like, it's a lot of crazies out there. That's all I can really say about that. So that was it for this video, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and keep the video requests coming. I do have like 2 more or something on the way. So yeah, I'll check you all in the next video. Bye.